Hello everyone and welcome back to build the plank on frame Battleship YAMATO. Okay, so the footage you're about to see was filmed on Thursday in a live stream build, and all I've done is slightly edit it down to make it a bit more enjoyable video, a little bit more easy watching. I've added the side camera on so you can see into the bow section a little bit more when I'm filling that part. So anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Like I say, so I'm pretty much going to work on the YAMATO again today, and like I say, if you can see, I'm actually no further forward than I kind of were when we left the build last week. But it's kind of like, I mean, I've got that many models going at the minute that I kind of like have to try and find the time to fit them in, like in between obviously building the Spitfire and the Victory and the Millennium Falcon. So pretty much I kind of started gluing in these, pinning in these deck plates. Yeah, so I kind of started gluing in these deck plates, and if you notice at the end of the last stream, I couldn't quite work out why I left them on, and like I say, in the end I just cut myself some little notches so they fitted over there. If I turn it the right way. But I got a comment from somebody after who's actually built this. He says you actually, in a bit later on in the instructions, you actually sand these all smooth and then this part fits on. But in some ways it's worked out okay because my bow felt a little bit loose, so kind of putting these notches into this plate, it's kind of tied them up. You can actually tie this bow into this rest of this section as well, so that's all worked out okay. But I'm not actually going to be working on that today. Like I say, I will do that off camera because it's pretty much the same as I did these. I don't want to just bore people by doing the same things over and over again. But what I am going to be working on is I did this about 15 minutes before I came on the stream. I'm actually going to start filling this this bow section. So I'm going to show you that, and also I'm going to be working on this fin section. So obviously we've got to kind of add some of this like this decorative like obviously planking that kind of sits either side of this fin that kind of makes it a little bit more interesting. So like I say, I'll put you back onto face cam. Yeah, so it's going to be quite a bit to do today. I'm going to show you how to fill this. I'll also set up the mini lathe with a little drum sander on, because obviously we need to kind of, let me bring this picture across for you. I'll bring onto the zoom one so you can see it's a little bit better. Yeah, I've kind of, if you notice this, look, that's pretty much, where are we? Can you see that? That's pretty much how the hull is at the minute. So if we put this square piece on, it's going to kind of not sit flush. What we've got to do, we've got to kind of taper it so it fits nice and flush around the near enough the keel. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to sand that off using my drum sander. So I'll show you that in a second. Yeah, so like I say, what I'm going to do first, I'm going to put the YAMATO to one side. And also, if you notice, I've not got chat on the screen today because I've actually got my side camera recording, and I'm not going to actually, once this stream's ended, it's not going to be live on YouTube. It's just been unlisted video. So if you want to watch it again, you can just find it in the unlisted section. But I'm just going to use the footage and edit it all down and make a bit more an instructional video. Okay, so I've got this obviously this piece of wood that got supplied in obviously pack 10. And like I say, it needs obviously tapering down. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, it needs cut into 3 or 4 lengths. So the first length is we need 2 at 50 mil. So I'm just going to put it onto my ruler. Just get a little mark at 50 mil. Put it onto my cutting block. Hope you can see that okay. Put it onto my cutting block. Just take my razor saw, and I'm just going to put it up against the one side. Just nice easy cuts. I prefer it. I don't know if other people do it this one, obviously when they're making straight cuts. I just like to use the razor saw all the time rather than just using obviously a knife. So I'm going to cut another couple. Like I say, if I'd got myself a little bit more prepared before I kind of came on, I'd have probably cut a few of these already, but yeah, here's what it is. Okay, so I'm going to put another one on. Just line up the hole. What I kind of do, because there's a lot of slop in this jig. So what I'm going to do, what I always tend to do is push it to one side or the other side. So I kind of try and keep it straight as I possibly can. Okay, so I've cut 2 at 50, and now I need to cut 1 at 75. Okay, like I say, same again, so I'm finding the mark. Let's cut that at 75. And one more. couple of marks again. And that's M4 needed. Okay, so I'm going to put you back on the face cam. Like I say, I've just cut these 4 sections. And what I'll do in the purpose of today's video is I'm going to glue obviously two on each side. And I'm probably going to have to leave that because obviously I won't be able to sand it and manipulate it until next build. But I'll kind of show you that. So what I'll do is obviously I'll sand these to the profile needed, glue them on, and then we'll work on filling the bow with filler. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring this mini lathe across, and like I say, I use this all the time, and I'm just in fact I'm going to do a little bit of standalone video about this mini lathe, because like I say, people watched me obviously over the last couple of years. I've used it for loads of different things. I use it for obviously tapering the mass, and now, like I say, now I'm going to use it with a drum sander end on, so I can kind of just run these down this section like that. And it's all that's going to do is obviously, because the way the arc of this sanding drum is, it's going to put a nice little arc onto this back of this. So like I say, that's that. I've also used it for a little circular saw as well. I've got a circular saw attachment that fits on there. So yeah, it's got so many options. Okay, because obviously like I say, I don't want to try and get all my room covered with sawdust. I'm just going to be a little bit of noise for a second while I just sand these off. I'm just going to turn on this mini lathe, and also I'm just going to put my hoover on. It's just going to take away a little bit of the dust in the air. So like I say, in the edit, when I edit it down and release it, I'll kind of turn the volume down for this section. But just bear with me. So I'm just going to turn my hoover on. Okay, so all I'm going to do, I'm just going to take this part and I'm just going to run it down. Like I say, I'm bringing into this close. All that's doing is just starting to round off this back edge, so it's going to fit nicer onto the next to the keel. I'll just do one more on the larger section. Okay, so like I say, so I've done 2. I'm not going to do any more than 2. I'll show you obviously another technique, because like I say, not everybody's got a mini lathe out there. But yeah, it's on these, all that's done. I'll put you back on this zoom camera. All that's done now is just slightly tapered off this this back edge, so it's nice and smooth to fit around the keel. But like I say, if you haven't got obviously a mini lathe, all you can really do is just kind of a little bit more tricky, but you can just take your craft knife and you can just trim a bit off. Just as simple as that. But where you get once we're using this flat knife, you just get the kind of more of a flat cut rather than a rounded cut. But that's all you do if you don't have the mini lathe. I'll just do the same with the other one. Three or 4 passes of the knife, and that'll make it so it sits onto the keel and to the hull nice. Okay, so I'm just gonna get rid of this dust, and like I did before, all I'm gonna do is take a rag. It's just a little bit of water, kind of spray it onto the piece of paper towel. And I like to try and keep my my area as clean as possible, just because it's like I said before, this dust is not great for you. Okay, so I'm gonna bring the YAMATO back across. I'll put you onto this picture-in-picture, and these are the 2 fins that we're kind of working on. This is what we've just had to make these sections for, and they're pretty much just going to kind of get glued on either side. One of the shorter ones and one of the larger ones, and they're just going to get glued on either side. Like I said, next video, in next week's YAMATO build, we're going to come back in and then we're going to shape all this all nice and nicely into the fins. So like I say, all I'm doing is I use this Gorilla Glue. I use it all the time, so if anybody's interested. Like I say, in no way am I any links to Gorilla Glue, but I just like to say, people do ask you, you'll get comments like, oh, what glue do you use? So if I kind of show people in the builds, it makes it a little bit easier. Just grab one of my little paint brushes, put you back on the zoom camera. pretty much all we're doing is just kind of just going to put a nice, really nice bead onto this hull section, and a nice, I mean, generous, it doesn't really matter because it's all going to get sanded down. Put a nice generous bead on, kind of making sure you've got it in the right profile that you need. You don't have to worry about it too much. All you have to do is make sure that it's overhanging there, and it's going to be overhanging this section because we're obviously going to fill all this. So that's that one this side. So I was going to put that second one on. Like I say, it's very fast acting to use this glue, but obviously it won't be quite 100% set for me to shape it in today's video. And that one's just going to be glued on there. Just the same on the other side. So just squeeze it in, make sure it's overhanging this section so we've got enough to sand off. And we can squeeze them down nice and tight. So pretty much all we're going to do is when we come back for the next section is just we're going to want to use the craft knife, and we're pretty much just going to be scribing down this section so it pretty much becomes flush with the fin, and then obviously what we'll do is obviously smooth it round, sand it in, and put some filler into it. Okay, so I've done that section, so now we're going to kind of work on this filling. So I'm going to spin it round without knocking my head off or knocking any of the cameras. And like I say, I'll put you onto this onto the zoom camera. Like I say, well, the way the bow came, it kind of came in, obviously people watch my videos from a while back, it came in like a section around about 10 pieces that you kind of stack on top of each other. And like I said, then you had to kind of like sand it back. But what it's done, it's left ridges. I don't know if I can show you if you can see that one. Let me turn it that way. You can see it, let me see, you can see it better now. And it's left ridges, so obviously what we're going to do is obviously just fill these ridges. So what I'm using is just a piece of, obviously, styrene. And I think it's a 0.5 styrene. I'll just cut it into a slight square block, and obviously it's like a bit like so it flexes really flexible. It's a bit like a credit card. So when you kind of put it to the hull, you can shape it around the hull. So when you pull it down, it's kind of, you know what I mean, it's finding its own way into these profiles. So I'm just going to take my little filler knife. I'm just going to scrape a bit of this filler out onto this piece of plywood. Like I say, I'm going to have to clean it off too, but it'll serve the purpose for now. So I'm going to put it onto there. So what I can do now is I can kind of get my piece of card, and I can kind of just, I mean, I can take off what I want. I can spread it out smooth like that, and then you can kind of just cut. You can cut an edge. So I'll show you again. You can kind of smooth it out, and you've cut an edge, and that's how it's kind of like. It's a bit like when you fill in the wall. You just want to cut edge. So what I'm going to do now is put you onto this zoom camera. So what we've got in pretty much this section, in the middle of this bow, we kind of smooth this. So what we're going to need to do is work his way down to the keel, and then obviously work his way back to the top. So we're pretty much going to come down this section and then go up that section. So all I'm going to do, like I say, I'm just going to cut a piece of filler just like that. Like I say, and then I'm going to find the middle. Actually, I'm going to have to push this down, and then I'm going to find the middle, and I'm just going to get the middle and then work to myself. And that's kind of filled it. So I've cut myself another section, just like we did, and then same again, find the middle, and then work my way all the way down to the keel section. Like I say, when you get to this edge, it's rough, and you can't cut it as nice as you can down these sections. But don't worry about that. As long as it's, you know, it's hanging over, because then we'll probably have to fill this 2 or 3 more times. So that's that bottom section there. Bottom section done. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just going to cut myself another piece. It's a bit like Bob Ross when he used to cut his oil paintings. And I'm just going to push it down again. Not going to be the easiest thing to show you this time. Yeah, I'll try and get my hand out of the way. Put it that way, get it nice and flat, and then push it up. And then just keep cutting yourself a bit more, and then pushing it up. Cut yourself some. Try and add a little bit around this bow section. what you have to try and remember is you can't do it all in one go. You kind of have to, like say, that looks a complete mess right in this bow section. But the trouble is, you just need to leave that to dry, because the more, if I start to manipulate this and try to mess it around with it when it's still wet, it just makes a complete mess. All you have to try and do is just try and get as much in as you possibly can, and then kind of walk away. Yeah, so I'll just show you on this section now. So pretty much that's been filled, and all you can really do, I'm really at the extremes of the how far I can get this under the camera. So all you can really do now is just walk away from that, let it dry, and then obviously come back, sand it, fill, and repeat. Larger camera, yeah. So pretty much, like I say, if you can see on that front section, it's quite messy, but like I say, it's the first time. Once you hit it once with sandpaper, fill it again, hit it again, probably going to need 2 or 3 times, and that's just going to fill up all nice. Yeah, so pretty much it's quicker than I thought I should do this section. Like I said, what I'm going to do later as well is obviously I'm going to put you back onto this one. I'm pretty much just going to go down the entire hull at some point using the same technique. I mean, I've planked it really well, and I've not got many holes, to be fair. But if there is any holes, all you're going to do is just kind of work your way down. There's a little hole there, and all you're just going to do is just fill that, and then obviously just keep working down and see if you see any more. Okay, so I think that's pretty much all I can pretty much do in today's stream. I'll say I can't really touch that bow section yet, because obviously it's going to take at least 3 or 4 hours to dry.